right, guys, good morning. It is Monday. Oh, I grabbed the wrong date. It's Monday, March 8th, 2021. It says in 1917, the February Revolution began, which eventually led to the end of the rule of the czars in Russia. Today's National Day is International Women's Day. It says International Women's Day is March 8th. Who is a girl or woman in the class? Me and Miss Chrissy are both girls, and we have Angelis here today with us. How many females are in our class? We have 3 of us right now. If we had a full bunch of us, it would be what? Me, you, Angelis, Diani,
Caitlin,
and Bianca.
Yeah.
So 6. We would have 6 girls in here. Name important women you know. We know a lot of important women. Right now, I was just listening to a radio talk show this morning about Meghan Markle.
Oh,
I feel so bad for her. I feel like she's a really important woman right now.
I do too. She's dealing with a lot of crap.
She's dealing with so much stuff, when they've, left the royal family and, dealing with some negative thoughts and things right now. And I guess she was under a lot of scrutiny because they were afraid of what color the baby would come out. And I just craziness. So not only is she, an important woman, but she's an important woman of color. So I feel like that's pretty important to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So International Women's Day celebrates women's achievements. And our class thinks women are amazing, powerful, and smart. We are all of those things. All right, so our number of the week is 9. 9, N-I-N-E. 9 fish in our 10 frame. Our letter of the week is I, capital I, lowercase I, ice cream. Our shape of the week is oval. Oval, it's long and round. Long and round. Some popular oval shapes are a watermelon and an avocado. Avocado is a weird example. All right, our core word of the week is what. We ask what when we have a question. What do you want? What time is it? What's to eat? That's all I care about. And our safety word of the week is first aid kit. So you'll find this when there is a first aid kit around. If somebody is injured and you need to find a first aid kit, you need some Band-Aids or something, you find the first aid kit. Miss Chrissy's going to do our weather.
All right, so wonderful out there. It is sunny. Still a little chilly, but not nearly as cold as it has been. It's going to be like 61 degrees today. So we're pretty excited about that. That's all this week going to be like that. So we're going to keep our hoodie on our guy because that's all we really need today. It is sunny and March. And that is our weather.
All right, so today we are going to work on, I know it's a little late. It's supposed to be the nicest week we've had, and now we're doing things related to snow. So, my birthday is next Monday, and there's always a snowstorm around my birthday.
Really?
Always. So, I wouldn't be surprised. I might escape it this year. I don't know. But so we're going to talk about snow anyways. This is actually about kid inventors. So if I share the screen with sound.
Look at trying to get it.
trouble.
A kid invented it. Brr. Our ears get cold in winter. Earmuffs keep them warm. Do you know who invented them? A kid did it.
I'm gonna go pee real quick. Okay.
Invented by kids. Got a problem? You can invent something to solve it. That's what some kid inventors did. Problem. Chester had a problem. He liked to ice skate, but his ears got too cold. He got an idea. Solution. He gave his grandma a wire and some fur. He asked her to sew them together. She made the first pair of earmuffs. Chester sold them to other kids. Their ears stayed warm. Chester Greenwood invented earmuffs in 1873 at age 15. Problem. Tom had a problem. He loved skiing. He also loved skateboarding. He wanted to do them together, but he could not. He got an idea. Solution. He made a board that could go on the snow. Tom called it a ski board. Today, we call it a snowboard. It let Tom do his favorite sports together. Tom Sims invented snowboards in 1963 at age 12. Problem. Catherine had a problem. She liked to build snow forts, but her wrists got cold. Her gloves did not keep them warm. She got an idea. Solution. She made wristies. They go under your gloves. They keep your wrists warm and dry. Catherine Gregory invented wristies in 1994 at age 10. Be a scientist. A kid named Frank invented a tasty treat. He did it by accident. Frank left a cup of soda outside. There was a stirring stick in the cup. It was freezing cold that night. Frank found his soda in the morning. It had changed. He knew he had invented something cool. Can you guess what he invented? Answer. The popsicle, invented in 1905.
Okay, so the last page we would do is it says graph of winter clothes. So here is the number of items that we have of winter clothes, and then we're going to circle our answers. It says how many scarves does the class have? So we see 1, 2. Oh, sometimes it lets me. Okay, it's loaded. There we go. I was going to say, it lets me answer. All right, does the class have more hats or scarves? So we have 3 hats and 2 scarves, so we have more hats than scarves. And how many more coats than scarves does the class have? So here are the number of coats. Here are a number of scarves. We've got 1 more coat than a scarf. So we're 1. And the class has 5 pairs of gloves. How many gloves are there in all? So if we have 5 pairs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, means we have
Good
10
work.
total. All right. Next up after that is the video.
Inventors. What would life be like without electric lights? At night, your home would be completely dark. You couldn't see to read. You could bump into things. What a problem! Thanks to Thomas Alva Edison, we don't have to worry about that. He invented the first light bulb that worked well. He was an inventor. Inventors are people who solve problems. How do you invent something? First, you have to find a problem. Then, you brainstorm solutions for the problem. Next, you test out your solutions to see what works. When you have an invention that works, you name it and you let people know about it. Sometimes other people don't see that your invention is a good idea right away. A woman named Mary Anderson noticed a problem while she was riding in a city streetcar during a sleet storm. So much sleet fell onto the windshield that the driver could barely see. She invented something to solve the problem: windshield wipers. Windshield wipers didn't become popular right away. But can you imagine driving in a car with no windshield wipers today? Inventions often help people. Louis Braille wanted to help blind people read. They could not see the words. He was blind himself. So, when he was 15 years old, he invented an alphabet made of raised dots. A blind person can feel the dots and read the words. We call this alphabet Braille. George Washington Carver was a scientist and an inventor. He had encouraged farmers to plant peanuts because it was good for their soil. But the farmers didn't know what to do with all the peanuts they had planted. So, George invented more than 300 products made from peanuts, such as peanut flour, peanut glue, and peanut shampoo. An inventor is the first person to create something. For hundreds of years, people wanted to create a machine that could fly like a bird. The problem was that no one knew how to do it. Then the Wright brothers came along. In 1903, they invented what they called the flyer, and what we call the first airplane. The Wright brothers had no idea that their invention would become a major way to travel. Now, about 23,000 airplane flights take off in our country every day. Could you be an inventor?
What invention did you like best? Why? Talk about it. See you soon.
All right. So then for the rest of today, this one, reveal. We're going to do this All About Kid Inventors adapted book. Okay. So this set of questions, it's for the question pages all the way in the back.
Oh, okay.
Then like this one,
Mhm.
they go on the page number.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's easy enough. Give me 1 second to get all these pieces. All right, so All About Kid Inventors. Page number 1. It says January 17th is Kid Inventors Day. Kid Inventors Day is January 17th. I know we're a little late for this book, but you know, nothing ever goes as planned around here. So. Just like this glue bottle not working. Oh my gosh, I'm about to give up. All right, so if you're at home, you can give your student 2 choices, January and trampoline, and let them choose which one. If you need assistance, the answers are in the corner for the page number. All right, page 2. It says an inventor is someone who comes up with a new idea or a method on how to do something. So an inventor is someone who comes up with an idea or a method on how to do something. Page 3, inventors can be any age. I don't know, all of a sudden he was sockless. Maybe Evan did do it. It says Frank Epperson invented the popsicle on accident when he was 11 years old. We just learned about that in our Scholastic News. He invented the popsicle. I love popsicles, so thank you, Frank. Louis Braille simplified a French silent communication system and created Braille when he was only 12. That's super impressive. To create Braille when you're only 12 years old. The trampoline was invented by George Nissen when he was 16. Trampoline. Superman was invented by 2 17-year-old boys in 1933 named Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Can you imagine? Can you imagine inventing something cool? Ralph Samuelson invented water skis when he was 18 years old. Water skis. Chester Greenwood invented earmuffs back in 1877 when he was just 15. At age 12, Cassidy Goldstein invented plastic crayon holders so her crayons wouldn't break.
How come we don't have that now?
Yeah, we need those right now. I'm gonna have to Google them. Margaret E. Knight is one of the most famous inventors to ever live, inventing her first invention at 12 years old. Sahil Doshi was 14 years old when she invented the Polu-Cell, which helps clear the atmosphere of greenhouse gases. These two are messed up, by the way. So this picture should be on the next one. Fionn Fiera was 17 when he invented a method for pulling microplastics out of the ocean using a special magnet. It says you can be an inventor too. What would you invent? We once had this day when I was in like 8th grade science class where we had to come up with an invention.
Probably had to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was the same teacher. And I have no imagination. I think you have to have an imagination to be an inventor. You know, you have to think outside of the box, and I'm not an outside of the box thinker. So I think that's the hard part. So I really struggled on that day, and I really hated it because I hated, I don't know, trying to think of things that are outside of the box. All right, so it says, what is this story about? and it's Kid Inventors. Kid Inventors. Can kids invent new things? Let me get my answers off the keyboard. Yes. Just give me a thumbs up. An inventor is someone who writes a book. That is false.
Ah,
Give me a thumbs down on that one. Thumbs down.
well,
And could you be an inventor? I certainly couldn't. So you can answer however you want, but it should be yes. Anybody can be an inventor. And that's the end of All About Kid Inventors book. And then we have some comprehension questions real quick. Yeah, it should be lunch. Comprehension questions real quick. Okay, it says, what is this story about? And we're going to select Kid Inventors. Can kids invent new things? Yes. An inventor is someone who writes a book. False. False. And then could you be an inventor? Yes. Okay. They need to stop bringing lunch so early. Like, I'm not done until 11:45 most of the time. All right, so we have one last thing to do.
The Boy Who Invented the Popsicle. The cool science behind
Frank Epperson's famous frozen treat. Written by Anne Renault. Illustrated by Milan Pavlovich. Published by Kids Can Press. Frank William Epperson knew what he wanted to be when he grew up. And everyone in Frank's family knew too, because, in case they forgot, he reminded them, often. When not busy with his schoolwork or chores, Frank could be found adventuring with his brother Cray, practicing his cornet, or learning magic tricks. He also pondered important questions. Do ants have ears? Do goldfish sleep? Do woodpeckers get headaches from pecking all day? But Frank's favorite pastime was inventing, and to invent, Frank knew he had to experiment. So off he would go to his laboratory, his back porch. There he doodled and designed, tinkered and tested, analyzed and scrutinized. By the time Frank was 10 years old, he had already masterminded his first invention, a handcar with 2 handles. At twice the speed of a regular one-handled handcar, Frank whizzed down the streets of his neighborhood. Frank also experimented with liquids. But what Frank loved most was experimenting with flavored soda waters, the kind that hissed and wheezed when he held a glassful to his ear and sent tangy bubbles galloping across his tongue with every gulp. Frank had his heart set on inventing the yummiest, most thirst-quenching, lip-smacking soda water drink ever. So off Frank would go to the corner store to buy the flavored soda water powders he needed for his experiments, often with his little brother Cray tagging along. Cray was a handy taster for Frank's concoctions. Some of his attempts were unsuccessful. You could even say they were disastrous. But Frank just kept on trying. One day, Frank and the other children in his neighborhood decided to build a miniature amusement park. There was a theater, a merry-go-round, and a scenic railway. Frank was assigned the soda water stand, which suited him just fine. He could share his soda water creations with all his friends. It was also around this time that something peculiar happened. the temperature dipped, then plunged. This would not have been unusual had Frank lived in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, or Pocatello, Idaho, where it could be bitterly cold in winter. But he lived in San Francisco, California, where only rarely did the temperature drop below freezing. So Frank tried another experiment. He left a glass of flavored soda water outside overnight. When he woke the next morning, Frank ran to his back porch to discover his soda water had frozen solid. He could no longer sip it. He had to lick it, like a lollipop. Frank had invented a frozen drink on a stick. As he grew older, Frank's invention did not melt from his memory. He just tucked it away in a corner of his mind. And there it stayed while he and his sweetheart, Mary Frances, began raising their gaggle of children. But when Frank noticed more and more people eating chocolate-covered ice cream bars, off he went to his laboratory, now his garage, to experiment. Frank found a way to make many of his drinks on a stick at the same time, with test tubes to mold them, wooden sticks to hold them, and a cool way to freeze them. For Frank's drinks on a stick to freeze, they had to be cold, very cold, colder than 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, the freezing point of water. Why? Because their ingredients, like sugar and flavoring, lowered their freezing point. So what did Frank do? He built a freezing box that held dozens of test tubes suspended in a mixture of crushed ice and salt. Frank knew that salt lowered the freezing point of water, and that salty water froze at a much lower temperature than plain tap water. The salt and ice mixture would be colder than 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Frank's drinks on a stick also had to freeze quickly. If they froze too slowly, the sugar and flavoring, which were heavier than water, settled at the bottom of the test tubes, leaving just flavorless frozen water at the top. Frank wanted his treats to have the same tasty flavor throughout. The salt and crushed ice mixture surrounding the test tubes was so cold it froze the liquid inside the tubes in minutes.
What happened?
Frank named his invention the Epsicle and began selling it for a nickel at county fairs and beaches. In the evenings, his children helped him roll the nickels he had earned. Frank had a clever way to encourage shop owners to sell his frozen treats. For several weeks in a row, he sent one of his children into a store to buy an Epsicle. Each week, the shop owner had to tell a different child that Epsicles were not sold in the store. Frank would then visit the store himself and ask the shop owner to stock his treats. Of course, the owner agreed, after having had so many requests. Frank's children were always keen to sample their father's confections. And with all of them clamoring for their Pop's tasty fabrications, in time, the name of Frank's invention changed to the Popsicle.
All right. Let me push. Get out of the way. All right, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed learning about popsicles and kid inventors. Have a good day. Bye.